Hello everyone, I'm your hostess with the mostest 8-second gaming, and in today's video we are going to be talking about the best legend combos for Season 18. Having the right legend combinations to fit your playstyle is extremely important for your rank climb, so let's break it down. But just quickly, if you guys are looking to absolutely smash Season 18 out of the park and hit a new peak rank, then you need to check out the GameLeap website right now. Over there, our top level coaches, including myself, are creating the best, most highly informative guides to make you the best player you could possibly be. We have legend guides, gun guides, VOD reviews, and we're pumping out more content for Season 18 specifically as well, with Rev Reborn guides and stuff like that. So click the link in the description, pick yourself up a membership, and start to improve today. But okay, let's jump into things. And to start things off, we gotta go with the aggressive team. This is going to be for the edge players. Now, edge players typically forego a lot of potential placement in zone to get a lot more fights in. They are willing to risk some of the higher placement games to get more kill points and get their climbing done that way. It's not effective as it has been in previous seasons, but it is still pretty viable, so let's talk about which legends you want to run. And for this, you're going to be wanting to look to pick up Bangalore, Gibraltar, and actually Revenant Reborn. Now, starting off with Bangalore, she is the go-to aggressive entry fragger right now, especially on edge comps. Her smoke grenade allows her to cut off line of sight for the team that you're attacking, play around with digi-threats, stuff like that, but she's also really good at stalling third parties because they are still pretty prominent in the game. Her smoke grenade can cut off line of sight of the third party coming in, allowing you to have a little bit more extra time. Her ultimate, even though it does have a longer cooldown, can also stall them out. She can use a lot of stuff in her kit to be aggressive. The double time makes her extremely hard to hit. And she also synergizes really well with a lot of the weapons that are in the game right now. The alternator got a huge buff with disruptor rounds, so if you throw a digi threat on that, throw a smoke down, play around in that, you are going to be able to do so much damage to the enemy team, and if they don't have a digi threat, they can't do much to back to you. But also Bangalore and shotguns pair extremely well, and right now the Peacekeeper and the Mastiff, they both feel fantastic. She's in a really solid spot right now, so she fits this team comp well. But the next legend that we're going to be talking about is Gibraltar. And Gibraltar did get a buff going into Season 18 because his ultimate did receive a reduction in the cooldown time. You're going to be getting it a lot more often, so you're going to be able to use it in a lot more fights. And Gibraltar's ult is extremely oppressive in multiple different ways. You can use it straight on a team to force them out of their hiding position. You can use it behind them to cut off a rotation to force them to fight you. You can use it to stall third parties like Bangalore. It's just a really good ultimate. It's very strong. But on top of that, Gibraltar doesn't really have a lot of counters in the meta anymore. Mad Maggie's Wrecking Ball, Crypto EMP, and Seer, they don't really counter Gibraltar the same way that they used to. And again, with shotguns being in such a good spot, bubble fighting is now again a viable option. You're not just going to get run down by SMGs. And on top of that, the Spitfire got a fantastic buff as well, so that pairs really well with Gibraltar. Even better, I would say, than Rampart pairs with a Spitfire, because you don't really get affected as much as other legends with the strafe speed, because Gibraltar's hitbox is big, so he has Fortify, but he also has the gun shield. So even though you're slower at strafing, you have so much more tankiness than other legends, so it's going to be a lot harder for somebody to actually out DPS you when you're sending so many accurate bullets. And I feel like I should mention that the bubble is great for resetting fights, which an edge team does need a way too fast reset. Third parties, like I said, very prominent. So if you finish a fight and you need that little bit of breathing room, Gibraltar can just throw a bubble down, you guys are safe, you guys can then fend off the third party potentially. Gibraltar is slowly clawing his way back to that power position he used to hold, so that's why I'm throwing him here. And last up in this team comp, we have Rev Reborn. Now, a lot of people have a lot of mixed opinions on Revenant, but just hear me out on this. Rev with the new rework is now an off-angling secondary fragger. He's got a lot more of a selfish playstyle. When you use him like that to the fullest extent of his abilities, he's actually super oppressive and aggressive. You do a lot of damage, you highlight the enemies, allowing your team to get information and push the same person, and once you want to meet back up with your team or move to a new location, you have the Shadow Pounce to do it very safely and very quickly. And when you need to be super aggressive, you have that free 75 HP on the ultimate that refreshes on knockdowns. Rev is going to be a lot more viable in these edge team comps than a lot of people think. So if you like to be that off-angling secondary fragger, maybe try picking him up and try out this team comp. But now with that covered, we can move into our zone team comp. And this is for the people that really want to figure out where the ring is going to be pulling. They want to lock down a building, they want to fend people off of that building, and they want to play for that first place position. So you have to build a team comp that's based around getting there and keeping you safe while you are there. So for this team comp, we're going to be looking at Wraith, Loba, and Caustic. Now starting off with Wraith, she is just a staple in zone team play. She can play super split from her team, allowing you to hold a lot more real estate in your endgame positions, and if anything goes wrong, she can just phase and get back to you extremely safely. But on top of that, she has her portal, which also did receive a buff going into season 18, so it's a lot better and it was already super strong. Sometimes the circle doesn't pull the way that you thought it was going to pull and you have to do a last minute rotation, and there's no safer way to do that than with a Wraith portal. Let's put this to an example. Say you're playing zone, but the circle doesn't pull the way that you thought it was going to pull. You need to move locations and you see a building or a spot that is free, but you don't know how you're going to get there. Well, if you have Wraith, you just pop a portal and your entire team gets there and nobody can do any damage to you because while you're in the portal, you are immortal. Nobody can damage you. Wraith has always been such a strong zone character for such a long time for a very good reason, so that's why I'm putting her here. But next up we have Loba, and because you are going to be fighting people off your building constantly, you have to be sending bullets, you have to be trading some damage, you want somebody that can refill your inventory to keep you able to be doing that. And there's no better character at that than Loba because there's really no other character that can do that. Until they add a character in the game whose ultimate is just a replicator, Loba's going to be the only one that's able to do this. She just slams down a black market and it only gets better as the game progresses and the circle gets smaller. You can get ammo, you can get meds, you can do everything you need, but Loba's also a really good self-sufficient legend at the same time. Her bracelet allows her to take some off angles that other legends usually typically aren't able to. She has some good survivability built into her with it. And even though Loba is technically a support character in the game, she's more of a secondary fragger, so you actually leave the spot of support open, and she does fit this secondary fragger role pretty well. But though she's not supporting, you do have somebody strong backing your team up and anchoring you down with Caustic. Caustic barrels are extremely hard to push. They're so annoying, they do so much damage. It makes your buildings like a fortress. And Caustic does also do fairly well in open ground as well. A lot of people seem to think, oh, well, if people can shoot the barrels a lot easier, he can't do well in open area, but it's not actually as bad as you think. So on some maps like Olympus, where there's a lot more open area, he does actually have some decent strategies that he can kind of play around. But once you get Caustic to an endgame circle, if he throws his gas grenade down, throws some barrels out, you're going to be taking so much real estate away from the other teams because they're just going to be in your gas otherwise, giving you and your team a lot more area to play, a lot more breathing room, and allows you to close out games extremely easily. I can't tell you how many times I've been able to just throw a Caustic gas grenade and kill the enemy teams for free because they can't do anything else against me. This whole team is synergized around getting those endgame positions secured and then allowing you to break out for the win. So if you like to play zone, definitely pick up this team comp. But the last one that we're going to talk about is the hybrid team comp. And this is for the people that don't really have a game plan going into it. If they happen to be really far away from the zone, they're fine playing edge. They can be aggressive if they want to. But if they happen to land in a spot where the zone is pulling, they don't really care and they will just sit and wait for the placement points. So for these people, you're going to be taking a look for Valkyrie, Catalyst, and Bloodhound. Now starting off, Valkyrie has been a little wishy-washy lately. With the introduction of the evac tower, she doesn't have as much usefulness as she once did. That's not to say she isn't completely useless because her jetpacks are still good, her rockets are still pretty decent, and her ultimate does still have its own applications. And in this team comp, she does fit both playstyles because if you happen to think that you want to play edge, she can help you extend fights that other teams don't really want to be in, because at the end of it, you can just Valk ult, get to zone, you're perfectly fine. But if you do want to play center zone, she can just school bus you guys to an endgame location and you guys are just setting up then. And that's also why our next legend is Catalyst, because if you do want to play zone, you need somebody that is able to help you hold a building, and Catalyst does hold buildings pretty well. Her spikes and door reinforcement make it hard to push certain locations, and in endgame scenarios, her wall is pretty useful. But that's not to say that she's only useful in zone situations, because she can be highly aggressive when she wants to be. Her spike can funnel teams while in fights, and her wall can cut off a bunch of rotations, split teams in half, make it so you can only focus one person, or cut off line of sight on third parties. She has so many different applications in a bunch of different situations. I absolutely love her, and I have loved her since she first came out. But rounding this whole team out is going to be Bloodhound. Now with the changes that Seer did get in Season 18, he's not anywhere near as strong as he used to be, so I think Bloodhound does take the cake on the strongest scan character now. The White Ravens allow you to refresh your cooldowns so quickly you can have your ultimate in pretty much every single fight in the early game, so if you're playing Edge, you're going to be highly aggressive with it. And scans are always a welcome thing in fights because it gives your team a bunch of information. Where are the enemies pushing? Where are they holding? Are there even anybody near you? If you're running into a building and you want to see if it's free or not, just scan it. You're going into a choke point, you have a funny feeling, scan it. If there's people waiting for you, you know. You're looking around for those people that are still ratting for placement points to try and get masters again, you can find them with the scans. And Bloodhound also doesn't fall off in usefulness as the circle gets smaller, because once you get them into those endgame situations, if there's Bangalore smoke going down, caustic smoke potentially, they can just see straight through it, they can see where everybody's playing, they can just absolutely counter everything like that. They are extremely useful, so if you guys like to play hybrid, pick up this team comp. But let me know what your favorite team comp is in the comments down below, and if you guys want to stay up to date with the latest and greatest Apex Legends tips, tricks, and news, don't forget to smash the like and subscribe button. Thanks for watching once again, amazing game, and I'll see you guys in the next one.